Imagine this. You finally achieve something you've prayed and worked hard for. Maybe you get a new job, pass an important exam, start a successful business, or buy something you've wanted for a long time. Excited, you share the good news with someone you consider a friend. They smile, they congratulate you, but somehow their reaction doesn't feel genuine. Instead of feeling happier after talking to them, you begin to feel confused. Have you ever experienced something like that? The truth is, jealousy isn't always obvious. It rarely announces itself. In many cases, it hides behind polite words, fake smiles, and friendly behavior. That doesn't mean everyone who reacts strangely is jealous. People can have bad days or different personalities. But when certain behaviors happen again and again, psychology suggests they may reveal deeper emotions. In today's video, we'll look at 8 signs that may suggest someone is secretly jealous of you, but tries to hide it. Make sure you stay until the end because the last sign is one that many people experience without ever realizing it. Let's begin. Welcome to Mind and Heart Secrets, where we explore psychology, human behavior, relationships, and practical life lessons in simple, easy-to-understand English. If you enjoy learning how the human mind works and want healthier relationships, don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications. Now, let's look at the first sign. Sign 1. They always find a way to reduce your success. Picture this. You've just received a promotion after months of hard work. You're excited. You call a friend to share the news, expecting them to celebrate with you. They pause for a second before they say, "Well, you were lucky. A lot of people could have gotten that position." At first, you ignore the comment, but then you remember, when you bought your first car, they said it wasn't the best model. When you started your business, they told you it probably wouldn't last. When you achieved another goal, they quickly changed the subject. After a while, you begin to notice a pattern. Why does every success seem to make them uncomfortable? Psychologists explain that when someone feels insecure or compares themselves to another person, they may sometimes try to reduce the importance of that person's achievements. Doing so can make them feel better about their own situation. Of course, this doesn't automatically mean someone is jealous. Some people simply communicate differently or don't realize how their words affect others. But if someone repeatedly minimizes your accomplishments instead of celebrating them, it may be worth paying attention to the overall pattern rather than a single comment. Now, here's something even more interesting. The second sign is often much harder to notice because it can look like admiration when it's actually something very different. Sign 2. They turn everything into a competition. Imagine you finally buy a new phone after saving for months. You're excited and decide to show it to a friend. Instead of saying, "Wow, congratulations, that's a nice phone," they immediately take out their own phone and say, "Mine has more storage." A few days later, you tell them you're learning a new skill. They quickly reply, "I've been doing that for years." No matter what you share, they always seem to have something bigger, better, or more impressive. At first, it might seem harmless, but after it happens again and again, you begin to notice that every conversation feels like a competition instead of a friendly chat. Psychologists explain that people who constantly compare themselves with others may be struggling with insecurity. Rather than simply appreciating another person's success, they feel the need to prove that they're doing better. Of course, not everyone who compares themselves to you is jealous. Some people naturally enjoy talking about their own experiences. The important thing is to look for a consistent pattern. Do they celebrate your success, or do they always try to outshine it? Sign 3. They give you compliments that don't feel right. Now, imagine this. You walk into a gathering wearing an outfit that makes you feel confident. A friend looks at you and smiles. Then they say, "Wow, you actually look beautiful today." For a second, you're happy, but then you stop and think, what do they mean by actually? Or maybe you tell someone you got a promotion at work, and they reply, "I'm surprised they chose you, congratulations." It sounds like a compliment, but somehow it leaves you feeling uncomfortable instead of appreciated. Psychologists call this a backhanded compliment, a statement that sounds positive on the surface, but also contains a hidden criticism. Sometimes people make comments like this without realizing how they sound, but if someone regularly mixes praise with subtle insults, it may reveal feelings of comparison or insecurity. A genuine compliment leaves you feeling encouraged. A backhanded compliment often leaves you questioning yourself. And believe it or not, the next sign is one of the easiest to miss because many people mistake it for coincidence. Sign 4. They are strangely quiet when good things happen to you. Think about the last time something wonderful happened in your life. Maybe you passed an important exam. Maybe you got engaged. Maybe you finally achieved a goal you had worked toward for months. You excitedly shared the news with the people closest to you. Most of them celebrated with you. But one person was different. They simply replied, "Oh, that's nice." Then they changed the subject. No excitement, no questions, no genuine happiness. Days later, you notice that same person is full of energy whenever someone else succeeds. Why does your success receive such a different reaction? Psychologists explain that when people compare themselves to others, another person's success can sometimes remind them of their own disappointments. Instead of celebrating, they withdraw emotionally. One quiet reaction doesn't necessarily mean jealousy, but if someone repeatedly goes silent whenever something good happens to you, it may be worth noticing the pattern. Sign 5. They secretly enjoy pointing out your mistakes. Imagine you're having a conversation with friends. You accidentally pronounce a word incorrectly. Before you can correct yourself, one person quickly interrupts. "That's not how you say it." Everyone turns to look at you. You laugh it off. A few minutes later, you make another small mistake. Once again, the same person is the first to point it out. Have you ever noticed someone who seems unusually eager to highlight your flaws? Constructive correction isn't a bad thing. In fact, true friends help each other grow. The difference is how they do it. Someone who genuinely cares usually corrects you with kindness and respect. Someone driven by comparison may enjoy making your mistakes more visible, especially in front of other people. Psychology suggests that some people try to boost their own confidence by drawing attention to someone else's imperfections. That doesn't mean every correction comes from jealousy, but when someone constantly focuses on your mistakes while rarely recognizing your strengths, it's worth paying attention. Sign 6. They disappear when you need support. Imagine you're going through one of the hardest moments of your life. You lose your job, your business isn't doing well, or you're struggling with a personal problem. You reach out to someone you've always supported. They read your message, but hours pass, then days. Eventually, they reply with a short excuse and disappear again. Now, think back. Whenever they needed help, you were always there. So why aren't they there for you? Sometimes people are genuinely busy, and that's completely understandable. But if someone repeatedly disappears whenever you need encouragement while expecting you to always be available for them, the relationship may not be as balanced as you thought. Healthy friendships and relationships involve mutual care, not one-sided support. Sign 7. They seem uncomfortable when others praise you. Picture yourself at a family gathering or a workplace meeting. Someone says, "Lucy did an amazing job. She worked really hard for this." Most people smile and agree, but one person suddenly changes the subject, or they quickly say, "Well, anyone could have done it." Maybe they immediately start talking about someone else's achievement instead. Have you ever noticed that? Psychologists explain that when someone constantly compares themselves with others, when hearing another person receive praise can sometimes make them feel insecure. Instead of joining in the celebration, they may try to shift the attention elsewhere. A confident person usually has no problem celebrating another person's success. Now, here's the final sign. Think about how you feel after spending time with certain people. Some conversations leave you feeling happy, inspired, and appreciated. But after talking to others, you feel strangely drained. You start questioning yourself. You replay the conversation in your mind. You wonder if you said something wrong. Why does this happen? Sometimes it's because the other person constantly compares, criticizes, competes, or makes subtle negative remarks. Individually, these behaviors may seem small, but over time, they can affect your confidence and emotional well-being. Your instincts aren't always right. However, if you consistently leave interactions with someone feeling discouraged or emotionally exhausted, it may be worth reflecting on whether that relationship is healthy for you. Conclusion. Jealousy is a normal human emotion. Almost everyone experiences it at some point. What truly matters is how we respond to those feelings. Some people allow jealousy to push them toward personal growth. Others let it influence the way they treat those around them. Remember, none of the signs we've discussed today can prove that someone is jealous on their own. People have different personalities, different communication styles, and difficult days. Instead of judging someone based on a single moment, look for consistent patterns over time. The healthiest relationships are built on trust, respect, kindness, and genuine happiness for each other's success. Protect your peace, but also give people the benefit of the doubt until you have a clear reason not to. Call to action. If you enjoyed this video and learned something new, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to Mind and Heart Secrets for more videos about psychology, human behavior, relationships, and personal growth.